We all just found out the minimum wage is supposed to be $66 an hour to keep up with the current cost of living. I'm a physical therapist with a doctorate in my field. I went to school for 8 years and paid back $80,000 in student loans. Since the beginning of this year, I've negotiated two big raises.
Welcome to Pegasus versus the World, where we take on challenges, comedy, trending topics, and some travel.
City boy! City boy!
This is interesting. Well, apparently, the word on the street is because of inflation and the higher cost of living these days, technically, for you to be able to live, minimum wage should be $66 an hour. That is crazy. Actually, let's see what would that come out to be in a year's time. If minimum wage was $66 an hour and you took in the typical work week, I believe it's 40 hours a week. What does that look like in a year's time? How much money would you make in a year from $66 an hour?
If you make $66 an hour and work a typical 40-hour work week, you can calculate your annual income like this. Weekly income, $66 an hour times 40 hours a week is $2,640 a week. Annual income, $2,640 times 52 weeks a year is
$90,000. Oh, sorry. Keep going.
No worries. So if you stick to the full calculation, at $66 an hour for 40 hours a week, you'd end up with about $137,280 per year. So that's quite a nice yearly salary.
There you have it. So they're saying that so for working at McDonald's, mopping floors and making French fries, you should make $140,000 a year doing that. I wonder I'm no economist, right? But if someone who is mopping floors and doing menial work, right, is making $140,000 a year, then that means like a doctor should be making it just means everything skyrockets, right? Because there's no way you could pay an expert like an astrophysicist or a surgeon or a lawyer or a doctor or a banker. They have to get paid more than someone who's mopping the floors at McDonald's. It just doesn't make sense, right? Maybe I'm tripping. Anyways, we're about to hear this player out. I did a reaction to his joint. If you want to check him out, it's Epistemic Crisis. Epistemic Crisis is his TikTok. He has a bunch of stuff that keeps going viral. He's actually probably making good money. He's starting to make good money as a content creator, because there's when you start getting this type of views on TikTok and honestly, he needs to move to get his virality on YouTube, because there's a good amount of money on YouTube. You don't even really have to be viral to make a living on YouTube. You just got to be very consistent. Anyway, let's hear him out. I'm here for it. If you guys want to like, share, comment, subscribe, I'm Black Pegasus. Link in the description of my other channels. Let's go.
So we all just found out the minimum wage is supposed to be $66 an hour to keep up with the current cost of living. I'm a physical therapist.
Hold on. Let's go back to the last conversation we just had. Is this the bare necessities that people need in life? Food, clothing, shelter?
In my field, I went to school.
You know what I'm saying? $140,000 a year this is not living in an apartment, a condo, a townhome. That's living in a nice house. There's a lot that comes with $140,000 a year, even in this economy right now. You're going on vacations. You have, that's kind of a crazy, if that number is right. I'm just going based off of the numbers that ChatGPT spewed out from making $66 an hour, which would come if you're working 40-hour work weeks, you'd be generating about 140,000. I'm rounding up. It's 130,000, 37,000 to be exact. And why round up? Because taxes at that mile marker get hit. And since you're not an S corp, you can't really dodge if you're working for a corporate, you kind of get taxed nicely. You can't really find all the loopholes when you're an entrepreneur and have all the excessive write-offs that we're able to pull off in the entrepreneurial world. So they'd probably take around, depending on where you live, 25 to 35%. In some of these higher markets, 40%. So yeah, I guess it also depends on where you live, because that 137 could get knocked down to about 80,000 pretty quickly. I don't know, but it still seems like a lot.
Physical therapist with a doctorate in my field. I went to school for 8 years and paid back $80,000 in student loans. Since the beginning of this year, I've negotiated 2 big raises at my current job by forcing my current job to match the offer from 2 other job offers. These amounted to a total pay increase of 25%, which means I was underpaid by 25%. Thank you very much. And if you do the math, I now make $60 an hour. I make a whole lot of money compared to people who are poor, but it just hits different when you're supposedly killing it and you're still below minimum wage. I'd like to thank the boomers for giving us this reality and telling us for decades on end so many things that were never actually true. Oh, and also, you all are insufferable on the internet, complaining about our avocado toast and lattes. Avocado toast and lattes are because we just want to feel some happiness, because we realize this is all bullshit. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Damn, he's kind of condescending. First, I still don't get it. I don't understand how he makes $60 an hour and he is in a position where he's speaking like this. Because from the last reaction we did speak, this ain't a reaction. This is a conversation piece. The last conversation piece we had involving him, he showed no signs of having children. I have 2 children. Okay, this shit is bonkers, dog. My wife made the mistake because she couldn't. We were out of network and she didn't find the frickin' urgent care. She went to the ER just for something bad. My daughter had croup, had to get an X-ray, get a steroid. Never again go to the ER. $2,500 was my cut. It cost $5,000, but my insurance covered half of that. We could have went to urgent care. That was our mistake. I'll take that one on the head. Have an urgent care, even if you're out of network, it's like $150, $300. $2,500 is crazy. So I have kids, bro. It's different. I haven't seen him say anything about kids. He's got a wifey, I believe. I think she works too. He has a house. His dad's a mechanic that fixed his car for free. You know what I'm saying? Like, he has all these edges in society. So I'm wondering at this point, is this just rage bait or clickbait? Because he's mentioned this in his videos. He has all these things going for him, but then he's complaining about making $60 an hour. And I'm just a guy on YouTube. I've done fairly well with my businesses. But there's still, bro, this economy is nutty for my concert promotion company. It's been a tragic event since 2020 trying to make the dream work, but I still grind. With his doctorate, I thought, anyways, I'm not going to tell him how to do his job. I just thought you would start your own practice so you can kind of level up, and then you're not asking for a raise, you're creating it. And I think that's just how I'm built, because when I was 24 years old, I quit my job and I chased rap music and becoming an artist and lived off of rap music for the majority of my life until I transitioned into a concert promotion company and a few other vehicles. And now I'm in, online entertainment as some capacity with YouTube, not no weird OF stuff, right? So you just kind of, again, I struggle making these criticisms because you never know when you're going to fall off. And I don't want to criticize this dude to the point where some bullshit happens to me, like I'm just speaking off the cuff. However, it just seems wild. What people are talking about is wild. And if this grows, when the have-nots, there's more have-nots than there are have-yachts. So there could be chaos for real. And that's what the beautiful thing about America was, the middle class. The middle class is that buffering system. That's what makes this the land of opportunity, the middle ground, the middle class. This is what gives all the opportunity in America. The middle class is so important in America. And as it gets wiped out slowly, which it is, once there is just poor and rich, that's when you start seeing a lot of the chaos. The middle class is this buffering that makes everything work and cohesive. Because when I've been to other countries, that's what you started to notice. You just start to notice there's super poor people and there's people balling. There's not like a real middle class, like in a lot of like when I was in Latin America, I didn't see like this middle class. It's like you were either doing great or you doing effed up. But in America, there's this middle hovering where it's just like, yeah, we cool, dog, da 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 da. So y'all let me know if I'm tripping with that. I've done some world travels. I noticed that in China at some capacity as well. But I went, I think in 2018, and you started to notice they're like, I believe this, and I don't know, so you guys correct me, but it seems like China's kind of creating a middle class, you know, and I started to notice that out there, there's all these malls, there's this, there's that, the other. Now, how much of this stuff is propped up like the US? Because we are on a crazy deficit. So I just think it's wild to have a consumer economy. And then, you know, the whole concept of America is just propped up on these wild deficits. I don't know. I'm just a simple man. I like beans and rice. I wanted to hear him out. I listened. $66 an hour for minimum wage is wild because he admitted he's not poor, right? So if the average person was making $66 an hour, which technically they're making like what, 10, that would mean he would be, you know, that the price he'd be like, if then that mean at one point poor people, because these concepts they say they make it seem like these things are possible. I don't really think they are. It's like if poor people were making $66 an hour, then he would be making $120 or $150 an hour. It's just how it is. And I don't understand this world where we act like there's not winners and losers in life, in nature. Like there's not people who get ahead, there's not people who fall behind. It just acts like that doesn't exist. It seems super odd. Can we fix some things in America like the healthcare system? Absolutely. Our education system's in shambles. The medical system, the healthcare system's in shambles. There's a lot of stuff that, you know, I'm sure we could find common ground. Maybe we'd have different ideas on how we fix it. But y'all got to tap in. Let me know about this one. I thought that's wild. $66 minimum wage just seems crazy to me. But who am I?
City boy, city boy.